2025 is going to be the year for two types of musicians. The first type of musician is going to be the one who actually starts to change and see progress in their music business. And the other type of musician is going to be the one who continues to do things the way they've always done and basically goes unnoticed. And most musicians will probably fail and fall into that second category. I know what you're thinking, like, Dax, I thought this was the new year. You're going to come out with a big, happy, motivational speech. But I'm going to be real with you guys in this video because I want you guys to understand that the reason most musicians are going to fall into that 99% is because of one simple thing. It's outdated thinking that's preventing them from utilizing the tools that are in front of them to actually start to see results in their music business. So if you're afraid of marketing making you a sellout or trying to sell things and feeling weird about it or content or any of that kind of stuff, this video is going to be a wake-up call, and it's going to share with you the reasons why most musicians are going to fail and how you can be one of the 1% of musicians who's actually seeing progress. And I'm actually going to be breaking down a comprehensive plan for you so that you know from the end of this video what to do for the upcoming year so that you can be one of those first type of musicians who makes this their best year yet, as opposed to a musician who's just stuck on the same hamster wheel doing the same old stuff and not getting results. So the first thing that we need to address is by far, in my opinion, the most important part of this process. Because I could give you a plan, but without this, it's not going to be actually as successful for you because this is the bedrock of everything. And it's mindset. And I know what most people do. They think mindset is just all fluff. But functionally, I think that's incorrect because your brain, think about music, right? Jimi Hendrix once said that music is an interesting thing because you've got someone at their most suggestible. And so whenever you start to sing your lyrics, you're basically speaking directly into their subconscious. And that's a really important thing to understand is showing us that your subconscious, there's a reason it's called subconscious. It means it's not conscious. You're not aware of it. So you're taking in information all the time. And sometimes when we don't pay attention to the information that we're consuming, we can start to see some thoughts arise in our head that are very cynical and negative. And we don't know where these thoughts come from when really they're implanted in us from our environment a lot of times because they're hitting our subconscious. So mindset training is not fluff. It's actually the stuff that allows you to propel yourself forward. I know people like Alex Hormozi are like, I don't like the be, do, have because really it's just do. You know what I'm saying? And he says that because he already possesses the character traits and discipline necessary to take action. So he's already done the become part. But here's the sad reality of most people. 99% of people are not born the way Alex Hormozi's born, for example, right? They're born to the point where they have to develop that as a skill. And mindset training is actually what allows people to get to that point where they will take action and they won't have hesitation, because hesitation and procrastination are the things that are preventing us from getting to our destination. So I want to go through a few things that really I noticed most artists were struggling with in 2024. And if we can correct these mindset behaviors, these three that I'm going to go over, we're going to accelerate past 99% of artists that are out there. Because most people, the reason I said that they're going to fail is they're dealing with this right here. So first thing is first, most artists are afraid of failure to an unhealthy point. Put it this way, there's a reason it's called fear, right? It's supposed to be something that helps you. But here's something that most people don't take into consideration when you try to go and become a music entrepreneur. You're trying to make your art your livelihood, right? You have to go out there and get data so that you know what works, right? Any good business is not just going to like throw a Hail Mary and nail it on the first time. They have to go out there and systematically get data. Now, for an artist, what does that look like? Well, let's look at content, for example. Most artists are so scared of putting out a piece of content and looking a certain way, sounding a certain way, being perceived a certain way, that most of the time they don't actually post the content. Or they kind of post it haphazardly with this mindset of, like, it's not really going to do anything, so why put a whole bunch of work into it? You know, I'll just put it out there, whatever. There's this defeatist mindset, this fear of failure, because I've seen it in my own clients and I've seen it with other artists out there where if they put out a video and it gets 70 views, 150 views, they freak out and they delete it. Here's the thing, that comes from an insecurity about if I am not getting views proportionate to what I view myself as, what my ego views myself as, then I am therefore not good. And so seeing those low numbers is hurting my ego, so I'm going to delete that. That is all because we are wrapped up in this idea of the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of looking bad. Really, the most successful artists have figured this out a long time ago, which is that failure is not really failure. Failure is simply data, okay? And to be successful, you have to figure out what works. How do you figure out what works? You have to go out and try things. You have to fail. So here's the thing. The fear of failure that artists have is preventing them from getting the data that they need to succeed. So it's kind of a paradoxical idea that in order to succeed, you need to fail a bunch of times. And that's where it comes from, is the data that you get in the failure, in going out there and putting out content that pushes you out of your comfort zone. You're putting your face out there, you're speaking into the camera. By doing that, you're getting data that will help you refine that and help you get better and better and better and better so that you start to succeed. But most artists have such a fear of failure that they don't want to look bad, they don't want to have low numbers, and so they either just go like, whatever, I don't even care, I'll just put it out there because I think it's cool, which we've talked about in other videos. That's not going to get you very far because we have to be focused about what type of medium of content, what format of content do my dream fans consume in a way that I can be matched with it so that I just naturally go into their, conscious awareness, as opposed to me trying to pull them into this way that they're not normally used to consuming content. So we have to look at it from this perspective. Let's go back to the failure equals data kind of framework. We need that data, right? But if we're so scared of judgment that we don't post the content, or we haphazardly post the content, we're not going to get anywhere, right? So you need to go out there and post consistently over and over and over again and fail over and over and over again. I'll tell you guys a quick little story. When I started my TikTok page back in like 2021, 2022, I told myself, clearly there's something to this platform. I was a little late to the game by that point, but I was like, clearly there's something to this platform. So I'm going to do something where I'm going to try to post every single day at least once. And I did it. I didn't do it 100%. I posted like 350 videos in the span of the whole year. So I missed about 10 days. That 365 days, I not only failed a whole bunch in the beginning. I would put out views, they'd get 40 views, 75 views, 40 views, 20 views, 50 views. I did that over and over and over again until I started learning, well, let me try a different headline color. Oh, that seemed to work. Now it's up to like 200, 300, 200, 300. Let me try it again. And I would try new things, and then some would blow up to 20,000, some would blow up to 30,000, some would blow up to 8,000, right? And I started noticing things that worked, things that didn't work. And so I started to quit doing the things that didn't work and focus and double down more on the things that were working. But if I didn't go out there and fail over and over and over and over again with those posts, I would have never got the data necessary for me to make the corrections to get to basically 4,000 followers in that year-long process. I went from 70 followers from like people who knew me to 4,000 followers in a year because I committed to figuring out how it's done. Y'all can go look at my YouTube page. Like, I don't hide this as a fact. My YouTube page was not always doing well, right? I used to have less than 1,000 followers, and on top of that, my videos would get like 20 to 100 views. If I got a video that got 150 views, I was like, yeah, all right. Because I was going out there and failing over and over and over and over and over again, trying to figure out the format and the thumbnail and the title and the way to present the information that resonated best with y'all, right? And so I tried it over and over and over again one way, and then I started to realize, okay, clearly this approach isn't working. I need to try and change my approach up. And as soon as I started changing my approach up, I eventually found the way that resonated with my audience. And so thank you for the returning subscribers. If you're not a subscriber, now would be a great time. No, I'm just kidding. But you see the idea is like I had to put in years. I started this YouTube channel in 2016. It didn't actually start growing and getting a big following until about 2024, 2023. That was when the momentum started to pick up. So there was years of posting content, giving value, because I actually believe in this. If I didn't actually believe in this, I would have been defeated within like the first 2 years. But I actually genuinely love talking about this stuff because I'm a nerd. And so I just kept posting. I kept posting and sharing value because I knew it would help somebody. But I knew I had to figure out the way to present it so that people would actually enjoy it and want to check out the videos. And you can do the same thing. But if you don't go out there and fail enough to get the data necessary to make the changes so that you can succeed, you're not going to get any progress in 2025. So make 2025 the year that you take I want you to visualize this, okay? Take your fear around being judged and fear around posting content and looking a certain way. I want you to take that fear and I want you to put it in a metaphorical box, okay? Now I want you to take that box and I want you to shove it into a cannon and I want you to light the cannon off and shoot that thing into the moon. You know what I'm saying? Like I want you guys to get rid of that fear this year, because if you do, you're going to blow past all the musicians who are sitting there procrastinating and thinking, oh, I don't know if I want to post this. Am I going to look cool? Are people going to think I'm nerdy? Are people going to think I'm cheesy? Are people going to think? We got to get rid of that stuff. We got to take all that stuff and just throw it out of here so we can look at what is working and what's not working and make changes based on that data. But if we never fail, we're never going to get the data. Okay. The second thing that we need to go from is, I notice a lot of artists have this hyper cynical, scarcity-based mindset. And here's the thing. Let me be very upfront. Being skeptical can be a good thing. It can prevent you from getting hurt. That's the purpose of the function of being skeptical about something, is it's supposed to protect you from getting burned, right? But when we're so hyper skeptical and hyper cynical, our brain is going to shut off any trust or faith in any opportunity that presents itself, and we're not going to be able to actually see whether it is in fact a good opportunity or not, because our brain shut it off completely and just wiped it away as, whatever, it's probably just this, it's probably just that. We're going to shut our minds up to all the opportunities. Someone's going to be like, hey, there's, back in like 2018, 2017, people are like, there's this new app called TikTok, and it's becoming a really great platform to promote your music and your music marketing. People are like, that's an app for kids making stupid dance moves. I'm not going to get onto TikTok. That's just dumb. I'm not going to do. And then guess what happened? They got left behind. All the artists that said, well, I'm not going to be cynical about it. I'm going to say, well, this is clearly a new medium that people like to consume entertainment and media on. I'm going to go put my content out there and market it to find my right people on this app. And there were people who utilized this to grow audiences. And look at Forrest Frank, his Instagram and his TikTok, and it's just, the freaking, I was just so surprised at how big he got. I knew independent artists could have success. But man, that even blew up my false belief as to a cap or limit that I thought independent artists could have success with in the modern day. So we have to look at it from a different mindset. We can't just be super hyper cynical and skeptical about everything and just have this what's called a scarcity mindset, where we don't believe, there's a lot of people out in the world, but they won't like my music, or I'm just a blank. Oh, I'm only a blank. We come up with these reasons why, people won't like me, people won't be able, I had to get this mindset out of my own band even. We were having arguments about VIP prices. And they're like, Dax, no one's going to want to pay $75 to see us. We're not Shinedown. We're not some big band that plays in arenas. And I'm like, guys, that's not the point. First of all, Shinedown would charge way more than $75. But secondly, people look at us the way we look at our favorite bands. It's just uncomfortable for us to accept that. And so it's not that people won't buy it, it's that people haven't bought it because we've never offered it. So let's offer it and just see who are the people that want to buy it. We immediately got 7 people to buy our VIP tickets the first time we offered it. And that was it blew off that scarcity mindset where I even had our singer communicate it to some random person. They're like, what do you all get in the VIP tickets? He's like, oh, well, you get this, and you get this, and you get this. And they're like, you get all that for $70? Well, that's a freaking steal, man. And then he was like, wow, I've been thinking about this, like, the wrong way. And it took that kind of real life experience to break the spell of the scarcity mindset. And I hope that you can break the spell of it as well, because it's holding you back. It's making you think, I could be successful, but no one's going to like my specific type of music. I'm too niche. It's a scarcity-based mindset, as opposed to a rationally optimistic abundance mindset, okay? Where Martin Seligman did some studies that basically determined that optimists outperform pessimists. And the short answer to why, without going into super nerdy detail, is kind of that optimists BS themselves a little bit. Just a little bit. And for any of my fellow optimists out there, you kind of understand what I mean. And what that means fundamentally is that optimists believe in their ability to learn something more than they have doubts about their current ability to do something. So what happens to an optimist is they run into an obstacle and they go, you know what, I could probably figure a way to get over this. I know it seems pretty daunting, but I could probably figure out a way around this, The pessimist goes, there's no way we're ever going to get around this. It's like you've seen those movies, right? There's no way you're going to get around that because the wall is approximately 40 yards tall and we only have, there's all these like different excuses and logical, empirical ways of looking at something, but not helpful. But the optimist is like, yeah, I get all that, but I'm sure we can find a way around it. And so inevitably the optimist outperforms the pessimist, because the pessimist more accurately assesses their ability to do something, right? But that's the cap of growth is, yeah, I think I'm more like this kind of person. And then they take a test, they do something, and they go, see, I am just that type of person. And then it shuts off. An optimistic person's like, you know what, I can figure this out. It's, for example, it's like you have one artist who's like, I'm going to get to 1,000 monthly listeners. That, by the way, that's the top 1% of all Spotify artists is 1,000 monthly listeners. Good little benchmark to shoot for, So you go, okay, one artist goes, I'm going to get to 1,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Another one says, I'm going to get to 1,000 Spotify monthly listeners. Same exact goal, but one's going to be a pessimist about it. One's going to be an optimist about it. So what's the pessimist do? I'm not really great at getting in front of a camera, so promoting content around the song where I have to get in front of a camera is going to be hard. So I probably should figure out a different way of doing it. And by the time they've had this thought, the optimist has already put out 3 pieces of content and figured out where they have failed and where they need to improve. Now, at the end of the experiment, you may have the pessimist who gets 500 monthly listeners. And they're like, see, I told you I couldn't really get to that. And I told you I couldn't get to 1,000 monthly listeners. I already knew that was the case. And so, I just knew. So I guess I'm just not a 1,000 monthly listener artist, That's what the pessimist will think. The optimist is like, yeah, I got 500 monthly listeners. So I didn't get to my 1,000, but I've learned a whole bunch. And I guarantee if I just get 500 in the next year doing the same thing, I'll be to my 1,000 by next year. And so the optimist gets hit with obstacles and is way better at getting around them and actually getting progress. Where the pessimist runs into an obstacle and goes, yeah, there's a wall there. That hurt. Okay, my face hurts. I'm going to go walk away because that hurt and my face hurts. Where the optimist runs into a wall and is like, whoa, okay, that kind of sucked, but I'm sure there's a way we can get around you. And then they try to get around the wall. Oh, I got hit again. That sucks. Okay, but I can figure it out. Oh, I got to go over it. Okay, right. That's the difference. And I'm using kind of goofy, cheesy examples, but I hope you understand the potency of what I'm communicating here, which is that most artists have this scarcity mindset. And that's why 99% of them are going to fail in 2025. It's because they refuse to change the scarcity-based mindset that's hyper-cynical about everything. Instead, the ones who are going to succeed have this abundance-based mindset and rational optimism. Rational optimism, the key word there being rational. Unrealistic optimism is like, I'm going to have 1 million monthly listeners in 20 minutes. That's unrealistic optimism. Realistic optimism is what I just described. I know this is difficult, but I know if I keep at it, I could definitely figure out how to do this. Like I said, their confidence in their ability to learn is greater than their doubt of their current ability to do something. Right? And that's what successful people do. They don't rely on their current ability to do something. They rely on the confidence they have in themselves to be able to learn a skill. Does Does that make sense? So hopefully you guys are seeing the difference between the scarcity and abundance mindset. And then we have this, Dax, I would love to pursue music more, but it's a risk. Okay, fair point. Pursuing music and turning it into a business is a risk. So don't leave your job immediately, right? But here's what I would say. If you want to decrease risk in anything in life, you have to increase your knowingness. So like I said, the optimist is willing to increase their knowledge over time because they have the confidence that they will eventually get to that goal, right? So by increasing your knowledge over time, you're decreasing risk. Put it this way. When I was about 21, 22, I invested in my first real estate properties. I know it's kind of young to be doing something like that, but I had the faith that I could learn how to do it, and I did. But going into it, when I very, very first started, my risk factor was here and my knowledge factor was way down here, to the point where when I was actually talking to a realtor and we said, hey, we're actually going to pass on this property, they were like, oh, thank God. I was so worried because I didn't think you were actually setting this up right at all. So I'm kind of glad that you did this. You guys are clearly young. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what kind of disaster did we just avoid? And so I've invested in a mentor, and his name is Phil. And Phil taught me so much about real estate that just like, to this day, I'm so grateful for that mentorship because it showed me so much reality and truth about a subject that I knew little to none on, but I wanted to capitalize on. And so that investment, I think it was $5,000 I invested with Phil to teach me real estate. I made, from my first 2 deals, I made $20,000. So I paid back the $5,000 initial investment in the coaching and then have 15 left over for profit. Now, I'm not doing that to flex. I'm doing that to tell you that when you figure out how to increase your knowingness, you decrease your risk. Because what I was doing was just going in there in, the only suit that I had with my cousin, with the only suit he had, trying to look like a slick talking real estate person. Like, yeah, I think we're going to look at this property and invest in this property. When really we had no knowledge whatsoever. None. Instead, what I did is I got my knowingness up. I went and invested in some knowledge. And once I came out the other side of that training, when I walked up to a property, I could see where the risks were that I never even noticed before. And then I could tell when people were trying to work me over. I could tell when people were like, I don't know if I'll take this. I don't know if I'll take this, and trying to negotiate hard with me because they knew that I wasn't just going to get worked over, right? I'm not just at the time I had long hair. For a lot of my videos, you guys have probably seen me with long hair. So I wasn't just some long-haired hippie going up trying to buy their house like a unknowable, unknowledgeable person. I actually was informed, and because of that, I decreased the risk of getting a property signed under contract that would be a bad investment for me, right? So to decrease risk in anything in life, increase your knowingness, invest in books. You guys are clearly interested in investing in your knowledge because you're watching these kind of videos, which shout out to you. Like I said, the 99% of musicians, they may watch the videos, but what are they going to do with it? Right? You can be the 1% by actually taking what I'm sharing with you in this mindset portion. And if you implement those 3 things, you look at failure as data, you look at abundance, and you say, I'm going to choose abundance over scarcity. And you say, to decrease the risk I have in this business, I'm going to increase my knowledge base. Those 3 things are going to put you so much further ahead than 99% of other musicians. But we're not done. I've got some ways now that we understand where most musicians are going to fail so that we can avoid that. What I'm going to be sharing with you now is the plan, okay? And how you actually execute on the plan. So I'm going to be kind of quick with this, but I want you guys to have a way to go through 2025 and have a plan of attack, okay? So first thing is first. The first plan you need to develop, the first strategies that you need to start focusing on is your branding, okay? Think about it like this. Your marketing is who you are, right? But your branding is how others perceive you. Now, I know I talked about earlier about like the fear of being perceived a certain way. Well, that's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is the conscious engineering of perception by other people, right? So for example, this is kind of a cheeky example, but like if I paint my face white and put black lipstick on and black eyeliner and black fingernails, and I wear spikes and leather, that is going to communicate a certain association from people, where if you're not a metal fan, you're probably not into it. And even if you are a metal fan, you have to be kind of a specific type of metal fan. But either way, I'm communicating to those people with my image a perception that they are going to, basically I've engineered the perception that they're going to have of me if they're into my stuff. And if they're not, I'm engineering the repulsion that people who are not into this are going to have. That's the whole point of it, right? With branding, you don't only create associations for anybody, you create associations for your dream or ideal fans, clients, whatever. You're trying to create that imagery where the dream people who would be the best fit for your music, they see it and go, yeah, that makes me think of this, and oh yeah, yeah. So you have to be very conscious in your branding. Make it as true to you as you can possibly make it. I like to use this analogy. Some of y'all who are regular listeners know this, but my professional wrestling analogy. Those professional wrestlers have to basically be charismatic enough with a microphone and their body language that they can what's the word I'm looking for? Get a whole crowd to just be enamored on what they're doing, right? So you have to have this sort of turn my personality up to 10 type approach, where you take the things about you that are authentic to you, but then you exacerbate them to attract the people who will be into it and repulse the people who are not going to be into it. And I know people are like, I don't want to repulse anybody. It's like, well, you don't have a choice. You just either get to choose the type of repulsion that you're going to have, or you get some assigned to you. Just like the associations, right? You can either choose how people are going to be attracted to you as a musician, or you're going to have that method assigned to you by them without your consent. And I guarantee you would rather engineer your own branding. Okay, so that's the first thing that we need to do. We need to have a plan around how we present ourselves in our content, what's the type of messaging that we put out so that we attract the right people, okay? The next step for this coming year that you need to focus on is what's called in business, fancy term, but I'll break it down, lead generation. So what is a lead? A lead is someone who is a potential fan, a potential client. There's someone who is what some would call a prospect. How do we get someone who is interested in us? They know about us, but they haven't bought anything from us, or they haven't really streamed our music a whole bunch. I honestly prefer to refer to it like, even if they're listening to you on Spotify, they're still kind of a lead. They're like a lead customer hybrid, because they're paying a service that's paying you royalties, but they're not paying you directly. So they are a customer, but they're a customer for Spotify, not necessarily for you. So Spotify people who are listening, I consider those listeners still leads, because they become customers when they buy something from you. So before I get ahead of myself, you have to have systems for getting people into your world who are aware of you, whether streaming you on Spotify or following you on social media. So you can do that through two arms of your music business. You have the content organic arm, and you've got the paid ad arm. Some people try to go all in on one, all in on the other. There's pros and cons to doing that. I've known some people that don't mess with content and only do ads, and I know some people that don't do ads and only do content. I'll tell you right now, the people who are doing the best are kind of doing a little of both. So just a little heads up there, but it's not like they're huge ad campaigns with huge budgets or anything like that. But you have to have systems to get people into your email list, to follow you on social media, to go listen to your Spotify. You have to have systems around getting people in those, offers or zones, those parts of your business. Because from there, that's the pool, the bucket of people that we want to be pulling from when we're trying to sell something, okay? So the third aspect of this plan is customer acquisition. Sounds super fancy. All it means is getting someone to buy something from you. So they go from being a lead, a prospect, into someone who has bought from you. They're a customer. Now, again, mindset-wise, I have to make a little clarification. I know some artists feel uncomfortable referring to their fans as customers, but I don't think that feeling is mutual the other way around. I don't think fans have any problems being called customers, because I don't know if anybody knows this. Fan is short for fanatic, right? So that's where the word fan comes from, is the word fanatic. So I don't know. I think most people would rather be called customer than fanatic. Like if I went up to you and said, hey, you're kind of a fanatic about this, a lot of people kind of take that as a negative connotation. They're like, I'm not a fanatic, I just really like it. You know what I mean? Like that there's those kind of verbs that come up, but really it's the same thing. So don't have any trepidations or weirdness about calling a fan a customer, because I think honestly they don't mind the label, because fan is short for fanatic anyway. And so anyway, funny enough, one of our highest performing tiers in our fan club is the fanatic tier, but that's a whole other conversation. But you look at these three systems that you want to implement in 2025. You want to implement systems for branding. How am I going to put my content out there and my messaging out there to attract the right people and kind of repulse away the wrong people, the haters and the people that wouldn't be a good fit for this music anyway? Then you have to have a system. Now that you've kind of got those people into your world, how do you actually get them from there, the social media, into your email list? How do you get them from social media to your Spotify monthly listeners? Those are your lead generation strategies. So now you're getting people into your email list so you can communicate them with no algorithm separating you from them. Insanely valuable just to be able to contact somebody. Because guess what? If some kind of big thing happens where Facebook and Instagram shut down and TikTok gets banned and whatever, you could still reach out to them on email. So it doesn't matter what happens. If you build up your email list, it doesn't matter what happens to what platform, because your list of fans is not your followers. Your list of fans and potential customers is your email list or your text SMS list. So I think eBay years ago bought Skype for $2 billion just for their customer list. That's how valuable having a list of customers, they didn't buy them for social media followers. They bought them for their customer list, the people whose name, number, email that they could get access to by owning this company. So that's how valuable having a list that you own is. And then the third system is, how do we take the people from Spotify monthly listeners into buying something? How do we take the people in the email list, have them buy something, right? And to me, I like to take people from Spotify monthly listeners, and if there's not a way to sell merch, if you don't have the setup to sell the merch through the Spotify profile, you set up ways to take them from Spotify into your email list. There's a kind of detailed strategy that I don't have time to go into today, unfortunately, but it's an ad strategy that involves retargeting and all these kind of things. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about in today's video, I've got the plan for you. Okay, we have to have strategies around branding, lead generation, customer acquisition. Those are the three pillars I want you to focus on for the upcoming year of 2025. However, I want you to be aware of some tools to help you do this exponentially faster than everybody else is doing. So everyone else that just watched the video up to the plan point and don't watch this part, they're going to miss out on all the tools to help them supercharge how fast they're implementing these things. So number one, my favorite tools to start with are AI tools. Now I know artists have so much apprehension to using AI, but the ones that are using AI are being way more productive. AI can help you with anything from lyric writing. Now when I say help you, notice I didn't say write it for you. I said help you. So what I'll do, for example, is I'll have lyrics that I'm writing, but maybe there's a stanza. It's like I'm trying to do like an A, B, A, C type rhyme structure, and I can't figure out what the C is going to be, or I can't figure out what the second A rhyme is going to be. I can go throw that into ChatGPT and be like, I'm writing a song about this. Give me some examples to help me fill in this third stanza or whatever. You can use it to help you with songwriting. You can go and say, hey, ChatGPT, be my expert email copywriter and write me an email about X, Y, and Z in a casual tone. And then what they do is they spit out this fully fledged email with all the attributes that you've said, and then you go and edit it so that it's in your own words. You make it shorter if you need to, or longer, whatever you need to do, right? You don't start from a blank canvas. And I think that's really the main reason we should be utilizing AI, is to not start from blank canvases anymore, right? Start with something where AI can already get the wheels turning for you faster than it. Usually it would take like 30 minutes of brainstorming to figure out all the ideas that ChatGPT could have spit out in like 5 seconds. And now you can spend those additional 30 minutes on more productive thoughts as opposed to, well, we could potentially do this and potentially do this. It's like, here's the list of things you could do. Now you can pick from it and go, okay, is this feasible? Is this feasible? Right? You see how the different angle of thought is more productive? So AI is going to help you. One feature that this is going to get a lot of flack, but I don't care, is using text to image AI creations for your artwork. Here's the reality. Some people are like, don't use AI artwork. It's lazy. I'm like, if it's lazily made, then yeah. But I've had albums or singles with AI covers and nobody would ever know. Why? Because it doesn't look like it's overtly AI. So you can create things using like DALL-E, which is another open AI tool, where you can go from text to image, and then you can refine it and refine it and refine it. You can even take that AI image to a graphic designer on Fiverr, and then if you really want to pay a graphic designer, you know what's kind of funny? Artists are like, I don't want to use AI because it's going to put graphic designers and people out of business. And then it's like, okay, well, who do you think then is going to be utilizing the tools the most? Graphic designers. So it just kind of makes me laugh. Like, graphic designers, I think we're being a little bit naive if we don't think that the majority of graphic designers are going to leverage AI to make them more productive. So it's like, well, it's either going to get to a point where the graphic designer is using the AI and just not telling you and just giving you a finished product, or you use it yourself and save yourself some money. Depends on what position you're in. Maybe you don't even want to work with the AI prompts and stuff like that. So in that circumstance, maybe you could pay a graphic designer for them to go use the AI tools and create the stuff for you. But if you're a musician on a budget and you don't have just like a lot of free money to go throw at like an artwork design and you want to create it yourself and you don't just want to go to Canva, which you can do to create some decent stuff, but if you don't want to do that, then just go to DALL-E and create your own artwork. I guarantee you can create some really cool artwork and then throw your logo over it. You know what I'm saying? It's very easy to figure out how to, because that's something that I notice holds up a lot of artists. They'll get the mix, or maybe they're in a phase in their career where their mixes aren't the hugest. They're not of hugest importance because they're just trying to get music out there and get known and have stuff for people to consume. The thing that will hold them back as far as speed is getting a piece of artwork. I'm in that situation now where we've got like mixes and everything, but we're trying to finalize the artwork. And so it's taking an additional month or two to finalize the artwork for the singles and all this kind of stuff. But if you can just go into an AI software and just go bam, 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 and spit out some artwork, you're going to be quick. If you could just go in to write an email for your fan base and you can say, hey, ChatGPT, I'm going to write this email about X, Y, and Z. Write one out for me so I can, edit it from there. And boom, you can do it. It's like a template that you can go edit, as opposed to starting from a blank screen where you're just like, oh, what do I say? That sounded a little bit like System of a Down. That's funny. So AI tools, okay? There's plenty more AI tools that exist out there, but I don't want to spend the entire video doing that. I want to give you some tools that are mostly free so you can go start implementing this as quick as possible. The next one is content automation. These ones are not free, unfortunately. There is some content automation that can be done for free where, for example, you hook up your Facebook and your Instagram. And so anytime you post on Instagram, you can simultaneously post it to Facebook, and that can automate posting without you having to actually go to Facebook and post it. However, I recommend more omnipresent type automation. So a software like repurpose.io, we'll put an affiliate link in the description. There's Opus Clip. Now, those two serve different functions. One serves the function of repurposing, as the name suggests, one piece of content across multiple platforms. So you'll have a situation where, let's say, your preferred platform is Instagram. You can set up workflows so when you post a reel on Instagram, it'll automatically not only post it to Facebook, but post it to YouTube, post it to TikTok, post it to LinkedIn, wherever, right? You can set up these workflows that make it really nice and convenient. You can also make it to where long-form video is turned into podcasts. There's all kinds of great features of this software. But then there's another software called Opus Clip. And Opus Clip allows you to take long-form content and splice it up into short-form content. So that way you can take any of your long-form pieces of content, put it through Opus Clip, post one of these really highly defined clips onto your preferred social platform, and then repurpose.io will take that clip and share it across multiple social medias. So effectively, you go to Opus Clip to dice up a long form video into multiple clips, and then you take those clips, post them on your preferred platform, which has workflows set up from your content automation software to post it to all the social media platforms you don't want to mess with, right? So that way you can still post there without having to constantly be on the app, because getting sucked into an app can become a problem if you're posting across multiple apps. Like, yeah, I'm just going to post a little, a video here. Hey, what's that cat video? And then you're on a tangent for 30 minutes and you have to snap yourself out of it. We don't want to have to do that, okay? Now we have email marketing tools. My favorite ones, far and away, are MailChimp. MailChimp is my favorite one. The interface is easy to use. The price point is actually pretty good considering you're paying for, which is standard, you're paying based on the price, your price is determined based on the size of your email list. So if you have an email list of 100 people, you're not going to pay nearly as much as if you have an email list of 100,000 people, right? And if you have an email list of 100,000 people and you have this system set up, you'll be generating enough income from the emails that it should pay for the email software and more. So when it comes to email marketing, my favorite one is MailChimp, okay? Now there are certain softwares that I'm going to talk about now that could potentially do some email marketing for you, but I don't think it could encapsulate the totality of it, to be honest with you. Okay, websites and funnel builders. So something like Wix, Squarespace, WordPress for the website builders. I personally like having landing pages and lots of flexibility with landing pages. So there's softwares like Elite 360, my personal favorite. I'll put a link in the description for that one as well. There's ClickFunnels, there's GrooveFunnels, there's Systemi.io. That's a little bit cheaper price point. So for some of y'all that are on a budget and can't afford Elite 360 or ClickFunnels, you can get on Systemi.io, another great software. So these softwares will allow you to, let's kind of reverse engineer it. You have a website that has forms and landing pages that are going to sell things, whether it's getting someone to get their email address and give it to you, or you're selling a core product offer to turn someone from a fan into a customer. You can have the landing pages and the Stripe hookup, use Stripe if it's free, or PayPal potentially. Something where you've linked it to the website / funnel builder, so when they make a sale or a transaction happen there, you immediately get paid, right? So you've got that set up. Then it's integrated to where people can sign up for your email list. Okay, so from the website, people could join your email list. And from joining the email list, you've got your marketing set up to where there's automations that are going to start sending them emails to build rapport and eventually sell something, right? Then we have content automation that helps drive people potentially into the email list. If we throw a call to action in the description or at the end of the video, where we use Opus Clip to clip out our content. You could also use the Captions app, not a bad software to start out with if you don't want to do Opus Clip. But I like Opus Clip because I do YouTube videos, so I can throw the YouTube video into Opus Clip. It chops it up. It has the captions and all that stuff for me. Then I post it onto my preferred platform, which repurpose.io shares it to the rest of the platforms that I don't want to post on. And then I use AI, ChatGPT, to help me do other administrative brainstorming ideas, whether that's songwriting, marketing, sales. I use it to help me brainstorm. So ChatGPT is one of my favorite free tools on the internet. I think it's the best free tool on the internet. And then there's things like DALL-E, which is another open AI software where you can take things from text to image using AI. There are other softwares outside of DALL-E that do that function, but that's the one that I've used personally. So that's one I can recommend because I've actually used it. So if we look at the totality of this video now, I know I've gone through a lot today, so let's recap. Having the mindset that failure really equals data is going to allow you to gather enough data so that you can succeed. And if we don't have an abundance, logical, rational optimist perspective, we're going to fall into the hyper-cynical, scarcity-based mindset that's going to prevent us from even taking action on opportunities. And the risk that we feel can be decreased if we actually just start to increase our knowledge base. We start to increase our knowingness. And we started increasing our knowingness today by having a plan. We have a plan to build a strategy around our branding, build a strategy around getting new leads, prospects, however you want to call that, lead generation. Then you have customer acquisition, turning people into customers and focusing on those 3 core systems. And to help you achieve those 3 core systems, we have the tools. We have the AI tools. We have the content automation, the email marketing, and the website funnels to help you have a music business. And hopefully this video now has given you a ton of ammo to go out there into 2025 and make it one of your best years yet as an independent musician. If you got some value from this video, hit the subscribe button, the like button, the notification bell, all that good kind of YouTube-y stuff. And if you'd like some more personalized one-on-one help implementing these systems into your music business so you don't have to do it alone, then you can click the link that's in the description to apply for a one-on-one coaching call so that we can potentially work together and help implement this into your music business. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you guys on another video inside of Musicians Ignite. Take care.